So what is an unpopular? You're very opinionated on me, as am I. So tell me what's one of your unpopular opinions?
Okay, my unpopular opinion is cute and beautiful and fun to photograph as they are, I really, really don't like cupcakes.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Need to Know. I'm Gemma Stafford, professional chef, cookbook author, and the creator of Bigger Bolder Baking. And as always, I'm joined by the lovely Ami Shukla, the culinary director here at Bigger Bolder Baking, and the Malden salt in my caramel sauce.
Woo!
Nice.
Yeah.
I did that because I love salted caramel sauce and because you're bougie and kind of like
a little
salty.
salty.
And you are a little bit salty. Yeah, do you know that about yourself?
I just,
You do now.
I knew where you were going.
Hey, listen, we're all a little bit salty.
So, Gemma, let's get right into hot from the oven. I have a big question for you. Why does everyone smell like a donut? Have you noticed this?
I've noticed a very sweet smells.
Yeah,
especially
very
walking
sweet
by like the younger generation.
100%. And as someone who lives with someone of the younger generation, my daughter, will often, loves to go to makeup stores, loves to go to Sephora.
Like
and
Bath and Bed and Bath and Body Works.
All
beyond.
that, loves scented candles, and everything emanating out of her room is like vanilla, chocolate, all of these scents. So I've come to share with you a couple of her perfumes that she has so kindly offered. So this one, this Kayali Juicy Apple, is like, she's upset. Look, it's like almost gone. It's almost gone. Like she uses this obsessively all the time.
Do you know? So it's called Juicy Apple?
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny?
Yeah.
That does smell nice. That
Yeah.
smells like a grown-up perfume.
It smells like, it's very appley.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's very appley.
I just smell like a nice. I actually like that.
Yeah.
I could imagine that looking at the amount that's gone from that bottle. Yeah. Less is definitely more. I'm guessing with that stuff.
She's like, I am ready for a new bottle. Like, okay.
So tell me about this one.
So Lila actually saw this on. There was a YouTuber. Now I don't know. I can't remember her name, but she said, "Mom, she sprayed this on and she walked around and everyone said, you smell like a vanilla latte or you smell like a caramel vanilla latte." And she's like, I want to smell like a caramel vanilla latte. And so whatever birthday or, Hanukkah or whatever gift-giving time it was on her list and she got a bottle of this.
Bianco Latte.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has this sort of sweet, you may not smell it so much unless you actually spray it on your skin, but it has this sort of vanilla caramel sort of scent to it.
I do smell the vanilla now that you said it, but you know what I did smell first? Incense sticks.
Yeah.
Flavored incense sticks. You remember those when we were growing up? Do people do that anymore?
Like incense.
Incense.
Yeah, you just burn incense.
Sticks.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Absolutely.
when I could smell almost the smoke. Oh, I don't know what it is, the smokiness,
a little
or something.
smoky. Yeah.
But now when you said vanilla, it's like, oh, that clicked in my brain. Then this is vanilla.
There's all these different fragrances, tonka beans. They're just kind of like vanilla.
What's that? What's a tonka
bean? It's it's like a vanilla. It's like a vanilla. It's different, but it's similar. You think vanilla?
I probably should know that, right?
Vanilla, pistachio scents. Anything about wanting to smell like you're fresh out of a bakery or you're a baked good yourself. So this is it. If you want to be on, you've got your finger on the pulse of, new smells or, maybe just spend time with me and Gemma in the kitchen and you don't need all this fancy perfume.
That's true. I think so this is Gen Z's thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I get it. I get the appeal. And I have to say, so when we used to travel to America, I've said this before, when we were kids. So that reminds me, not something that I would have grown up with in Ireland, but as a 13-year-old coming to America, I remember going to Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works, yeah.
And that was a huge thing back then. And then the bath bombs that smelled like stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you know what? Go back a little bit to when I was growing up. The soap shop, the British soap shop.
Oh, Lush.
Lush.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
you
yeah,
go.
love that place.
Which I loved that too. Going to it now gives me a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally can't. At one point, George loved bath bombs. I couldn't spend 5 minutes. I was like, I don't care. Just get the $20 one. Let's get out of here. I do get the appeal of this, but definitely not for maturer ladies in their 40s.
I used I have to say, I feel like this has come around because I do remember like having friends in college who were really obsessed with vanilla scented candles. And I had a friend who would, go through the kitchen and get a little vanilla extract and just stick a little vanilla extract on her.
Stop.
Yeah. She'd be like, oh, it's great perfume.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's working.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
So
good for
there you
them.
have it. These fancy perfumes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to say, I get it. I get the appeal. That apple one, I could get, I like that.
Oh, people like this in their home, right? Like, people say like if you're trying to sell your house,
Yeah,
bake an
bake
apple
cookies.
pie or something like that.
Yeah,
And it
light a
smells
candle.
like, yeah, all that
Nice. Okay.
good stuff.
So talking about things that are floral
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit unusual, Britain's Best Loaf was just nominated. Did you get that Google alert?
The best loaf contest.
Best Loaf contest, but in Britain.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was interesting. I love these little food competitions in different pockets, especially in America. The states are so different. In Britain, they had Britain's Best Loaf. Excuse me, Earl Grey limoncello.
Yum. That sounds so good to me. Does that sound good to you?
Earl Grey is not my favorite. I have to say, I knew you would like that. Earl Grey is not my absolute favorite, but I do like it in small doses. So let me tell you about this. So Maya Oeetsu, she's 55 years old. She is actually a bake shop owner. She created this loaf. So this is British Bakers Magazine's Britain's Best Loaf.
Okay.
So she won Best Loaf in Britain. So this is really interesting. She there was 200 loaves in the competition. The judges said that the flavor profile was really unique, featuring Earl Grey tea, limoncello soaked candied lemon peel. But it wasn't like, when I looked further into it, it wasn't like a tea cake, because they talk about it being like a tea cake, which is very common in Britain and in Ireland. But she actually did a brioche loaf.
Well, so a tea cake is like a quick bread or like a cake. It's a
bread.
cake. Yeah.
Yeah, quick bread.
Yeah. So sweet, like definitely like dense and sweet, like a cake like
but
texture.
tea, because that would be a tea cake. Because she did a brioche loaf, which was different. Like, still sounds lovely, but just like different to what I know as a tea cake.
More like bread.
Like bread. So Mayo actually runs a cottage bakery out of her house.
Oh wow!
In Darley Dale in Derbyshire. So tell me you live in England without telling me you live in England. Darley Dale in Derbyshire. And she said that she tried 45 loaves of bread to get to this like winning loaf.
Wow. And
her secret ingredient is yuzu, which I have to say, I didn't have a ton of experience with yuzu. And then I judged Food Network's Best Baker in America. And I remember tasting it for the first time there. This is around like 8 years ago or something like that. And I have to say, like, it is really a lovely ingredient that I never think of using.
Yeah, it is so good. And first of all, the flavor of Earl Grey and yuzu is a really big flavor in Japan right now.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of all over. And yuzu is you don't find yuzu in the grocery stores pretty regularly. I mean, I don't know. I've never checked a Japanese grocery store here in LA to see if you can actually find the yuzu fruit. And mostly it's just used for its peel, for the aromatic peel.
Oh.
And so a friend of mine happens to grow a yuzu tree. And so she's like given me some yuzu before, which I've like put into vinegars. And then I use that vinegar for salad dressings. And it's really extraordinary.
Or oil. Oil.
You can, I guess you could like, you could definitely like soak that in an olive oil and make a yuzu oil for sure. But if you don't have access to that, like a yuzu fruit, to be able to use that peel. The other thing I've seen, and I'm sure you can find this online, is yuzu marmalade. So it has that, it's a marmalade, but it has that yuzu flavor. And I've had that yuzu marmalade that is wonderful served on a cheese plate. Amazing with cheeses. You can take some of that marmalade and just spread it on top of a cheesecake. as just like a really lovely topping. You can put a little dollop of that in a cocktail, and you've got this yuzu flavor. You can use it to macerate other berries or other kinds of fruit. So it's a really, really wonderful ingredient. If you're curious about exploring yuzu, get some of that marmalade. I mean, it's also delicious on toast, but it's a really nice way to taste it.
Interesting. Well, she definitely is really good at playing around with flavors, because in 2023, she also won the same competition again with her bread. It was green bread. So it was matcha, white chocolate, and fruit.
Ooh, that sounds good too.
That's a good flavor combo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful. Wow,
Yeah.
I need to get to her bake shop.
Okay, so let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Today is our 100th episode of Need to Know, which is kind of crazy.
This is amazing.
It's not bizarre. I kind of also, it just doesn't feel like, gosh, can it be 100 episodes? And if you're new to listening to Need to Know, definitely subscribe and go back, throughout the years and listen to like lots of different interviews and different fun episodes, different hosts. What we're going to do today is, you think like, people know a certain amount about us, but there's probably a lot that they don't know. So Kevin created this wheel called Whisk Win. So it is a wheel that you and I are going to spin. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this now. It has different categories on it. They're really fun. They're lighthearted. Some of them are going to stump us a little bit, but I think it's going to be entertaining. Okay, so we're going to spin the wheel.
Okay, so are you ready to whisk and win?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. What do I win?
You don't win. That's the trick. You don't win anything.
Seems very whiskey to me.
Okay, so there we go. I'll have another, which is a baked treat that you never tire of.
Ooh, cookies, of course. Chocolate chip cookies. Never tire of a chocolate chip cookie.
I have to say, that's a very good answer.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this so many times.
Yeah,
we always
we
talk
have.
about you can't beat a cookie. Or maybe shortbread. I also never tire of a good piece of shortbread.
That's not as good of an answer.
Oh, come on. Wait, no,
Sorry.
come on.
No, it's kind of boring.
Cookies are so
one.
good.
Go back to chocolate chip cookies.
No, it's just like you're like tired and you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm full, but I really want to eat something. You always want a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, chocolate cookies are the best.
Yeah.
I never tire of them. It's such a lovely treat. So I agree with you there. Also, ice cream, like frozen custard.
yeah.
Frozen custard is one of my favorite things.
Love ice cream.
Okay, Ami, now you spin for me.
Okay. All right. So, all right, ready?
Yep.
Ready to whisk it all? Baking fail.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Gemma, confess.
Okay,
the
a baking fail. Oh, I have
was-
many, and they've been shared on publicly on social media. There's one that's really bad. This is years ago, probably 14 years ago, 15 years ago. I had a client in San Francisco, and I did catering. They asked me to create. They had a client, which ironically was YouTube, and they were coming into their office and they were having a meeting, and they wanted me to make cookies, to decorate cookies that look like the YouTube icon, or not to look like YouTube, like the YouTube TV, which it was back then. It was the TV. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just said yes, not really knowing their clear, like that they wanted, like I made a cookie that looked like a TV.
Right.
I put icing, I rolled out fondant, I stuck on these things. They were awful. They were absolutely awful. I'm going to share the photo if you're looking at on YouTube. They were just horrendous. And I didn't know how bad they were until, like, when you think about, you look up cookies today, if you Googled, like, what does a YouTube icon cookie look like? It would look like so, like, perfect and exactly like the icon. And like 15 years ago, mine looked like an old-fashioned TV. It was so bad. I have no business decorating cookies. I had no business doing it back then. I should have asked a baker or somebody else to do it. But it was something that always stuck in my mind, because like the clients, you could tell they were not impressed.
Well,
But I just said yes to it because I was like 27 or whatever I was. And I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll do that. Like, you're going to pay me to do that? No problem.
Right.
It was not my brightest moment.
Yeah.
Definitely a fail.
All right.
I have more though. So if we land on it again, I've got plenty more. Okay, Ami. Oh, this is it. So your superpower. What kitchen superpower would you wish to have?
Oh, I thought about this a lot, and I really think, what I really wish is I could taste my ideas. So if I have an idea to put two different flavors together or to switch up the ingredients. Like if I'm trying to get a particular consistency of a cake or a cookie, or I'm like, well, what could I put like black pepper in that particular dessert and would it taste right? If I could really imagine and be actually accurate about what it would taste like, it would save me so much time and so many ingredients that I would throw away because things didn't work out.
That was an excellent answer. It was, because mine was just going to be washing up.
Oh, which is also amazing. And I would love that super. I would love
but yours was like way smarter. And like really useful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have a dishwasher. Put it all in there. That was very good. I see that being like resourceful, like not wasteful, effective. Good answer, Ami.
Here we go.
Baking fails. I wished that one, didn't I? Okay, so this next one's a good one. It wasn't as embarrassing as the cookies. A few years ago, and I mean by a few, I mean like 3, we made laminated biscuits. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Normally, for those of you who've made biscuits before, or a biscuit is not normally laminated. It's more like a scone, or like it's not a laminated dough. But we were trying to be fancy and we made laminated biscuits, which was fine. Then I had to do a video of the biscuits. And at the time, you tested the recipe because I didn't want to do it because it was a laminated dough and I don't have much experience with laminating doughs. And then I had to do the video. And I almost had a heart attack doing the video. But what happened was I read up on it, I practiced, I did all the things, I was trying to get it right. And then we were shooting the video. So we needed to do different stages of proofing. I very stupidly put the biscuits, I wanted to speed up the proofing. I put the biscuits into the oven to proof, which I should not have done. The butter started to melt between the layers. So that was not a good sign already. But the thing about it is I'd made really good biscuits. Like I knew they had been really good up until this point. Mm-hmm. Then I put them into the oven to bake them. Halfway through, I said to Zach, who was our videographer at the time, I'm going to check on the biscuits. I looked in the oven and they had literally, the biscuits in layers had melted all over the tray.
Oh my God.
And the expletives that came out of my mouth, I was just beside myself.
Because you were halfway through the video.
Well, I was halfway through the video. I had done this. It was my fault. I have a photo that I'm going to share. You can see it on YouTube. It was an absolute disaster and all my own doing.
Yeah.
And I was able to make them again. We got all the beautiful layers and they turned out perfect another time, but we had to pick up the video another day. I was beside myself.
Oh, I can't imagine.
And I would have been so
mad.
Foolish. It was so foolish. Anyway, that was a big baking fail.
It's so hard when you're in a hurry, and you're like trying to do something fast. Some things you just can't rush.
Like we proof doughs all the time, and I goose doughs all the time but a dough that is rich and heavy in butter, not a good idea.
Right.
Here we go again. Unpopular opinion. So what is an unpopular? You're very opinionated on me, as am I. So tell me what's one of your unpopular opinions?
Okay, my unpopular opinion is cute and beautiful and fun to photograph as they are. I really, really don't like cupcakes. Like I find them so annoying to eat. They're so annoying. So what happens is like you have this like ratio, you've got this like blob of frosting and then you've got this like little cupcake and then you try to eat it. And first of all, you get frosting all over your nose or all over your mouth or it falls over. And then you try to eat it and then you get like a mouthful of frosting and then you get a mouthful of cake, but you don't get the right ratio of frosting to cake, and it's super annoying. And I just recently made these like gorgeous cupcakes, and I was watching everybody eat them, and they're like, this is really good. And I could just see frosting get on everybody like all over the place. It was falling on the ground. Total pain. Like I don't understand why cupcakes continue to be this thing that everybody wants to make all the time. Like no matter what, like you have to the only way to eat a cupcake and have it be really good is to eat it with a knife or with a fork, like on a plate. Yes, because then you can get a little bit of frosting and a little bit of cake and eat it properly and get all the right ratios.
That is a very good unpopular opinion answer, Ami.
They drive me, and I make cupcakes all the time.
I have to say, I am more and more fond of is that correct English? More fond of a cupcake because I have a 5-year-old and we do parties and we do stuff and there's gatherings and they are so easy to hand out. They're easy to make. They're easy to look good, which I'm not good at decorating
but
cakes.
they're not.
And you
but
know
but
that.
like, do you have fun when you eat a cupcake?
Let me tell you. Yes, I do. But let me tell you something. No, did you not know Candace Nelson's trick? Who is the creator of cupcakes, which is the sandwich.
I know, but
you take off the bottom, you put it on the top, make a sandwich. No.
Yeah,
problem
but
solved.
I don't want to do that. I just want it to be the way it is, and I want it to like look pretty, and I want it to be nice to eat, and it doesn't work for me.
You just want to give out. That's what you want to do. No, that is. I get it. I don't have the same problem. But I will tell you on to furthermore to your note. People do put too much frosting on cupcakes.
Well, but the thing is that you have to, otherwise the cupcake doesn't look nice.
Yeah, or you can't sell it for like $6.
Yeah, it's like you put a little smear of frosting on the cupcake and it's fine. It's like fine for like, your kid's birthday party. But if you want to like take a photo of it, you have to put as much frosting on the cupcake as you have cupcake. Or it just doesn't look great, and then it's annoying. Yeah. The whole thing is annoying.
I tried to sell George on cupcakes for his party, for his birthdays. He was like, no, a cake, which is so hard for me to decorate. Right. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want? So I started making a small cake and then doing lots of cupcakes. And because he gets a cake, he doesn't argue.
Well, see, there you go. I don't know. I choose cake any day. Here we go.
Unpopular opinion. So my unpopular opinion, I'm going to let you be the judge of how unpopular this is. I think you might be to the contrary to this. I find chocolate too overpowering.
Always?
Not always, not in all applications. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you how I like my chocolate. I find chocolate too overpowering. But not all the time. I love my chocolate chip cookies because I kind of find a good balance between the dough and the chocolate chips. I don't like when you buy a tub of ice cream like Ben & Jerry's. Mm-hmm. So many of their bases are chocolate, and then they put in all this stuff, and it doesn't matter. Once it all goes into a chocolate base, everything just tastes like chocolate. So when I like a chocolate dessert, I kind of want it to be one note. Mm-hmm. I want a scoop of chocolate ice cream and maybe some like whipped cream on top or like a little something. Well, if you give me a cake that is like vanilla sponge but with like chocolate frosting, all I taste is the frosting. I'm all about a chocolate dessert, don't get me wrong, but I don't need passion fruit and chocolate together in one dessert. I don't need a raspberry tart with chocolate whatever and the pastry and the whatever. Like I will have a little bit of chocolate something, but I don't need a ton of it. And I don't like it to be mixed with a whole pile of other things. So I find that it just overpowers everything.
So it's pointless to mix chocolate with anything. Chocolate should just be chocolate on its own.
For me, I like it not mixed with too much stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A light touch with a little chocolate.
I feel like it could just, I feel like it can be too overpowering. I do, but here's the thing. So my favorite desserts are chocolate mousse because it's only one thing. It's like just a bowl of chocolate mousse with some whipped cream on top.
Right.
But I don't like especially I'm going to go back to cakes, like a different flavor, like a different flavor of cake with a different frosting and a chocolate cremeux on the inside. It's like, well, once the chocolate's in there, it all just tastes like chocolate.
Well, vanilla cake doesn't taste like anything, to be fair to the vanilla cake.
It doesn't. Then why don't you just make a chocolate?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because some people like it that way. I don't know. I don't even know what the point of vanilla cake is.
That should have been called, what grinds my gears? Unpopular opinion.
Well, that was fun. Gemma, we should play that game more often. I enjoyed whisking it all with you. Where's my prize?
No prize.
So now it's time for the Bold Baking Hotline. I have a few questions for you, Gemma. What has been your favorite Need to Know interview?
My favorite was Adam Shapiro from Shappy's Pet Stores because it was so fun.
He is so fun. I feel like I could just like hang out and talk to him forever. He was just a great guy, really funny, so much energy.
Yeah, he was great. He was a trip. Like he was definitely unique. That was a really fun one.
Yeah. Okay. So what's been the most surprising thing that's happened on Need to Know?
What's been most surprising for me is like tasting stuff. Some stuff that we've heard like has gone viral and then we taste it, or it's been different products. We tasted the wine and ice cream, wine ice cream, which I never would have tried in a million years. And I did not find that awful.
Right.
I totally get like why people would be into that. Cherry blossom season, we tried cherry blossom desserts. I thought were really interesting. I'd never done that before. I'd never had that flavor before, which I thought was really nice. And then nerdy nuts. Remember nerdy nuts?
Oh, those
the different blends
so good.
of peanut butter.
Yes.
There was like the marshmallow and there was caramel sauce. One of them was the Dubai chocolate.
Oh, I loved that. I could not have that in my house.
And we've had different seasons where we've done
So good.
Jenny's ice cream.
Yeah.
I think the most surprising thing is I love doing the tasting.
Getting to taste all these like fun and different things.
So I hope people watch this on, I know listening to it can be a little bit harder, but watching it on YouTube kind of makes more sense. And also you get to see the brand and all those kinds of things. But that's my favorite. Ami, I have a question for you. What is harder, baking or podcasting, and why?
Well, I would have to say, though I love them both, I would have to say maybe the podcasting is harder just because I'm newer at it. Though on the other hand, it's so fun to just sit around and talk about food and talk about all things food. So it's such deep joy. But as we're just, kind of figuring out, what we're saying, how we're saying it, I'd definitely say it's more challenging only because it's newer.
I agree. People, we never talked really about the process, but like, weeks prior, we start like writing and researching. We have somebody who helps us with that, Michelle, on our team. So much work goes into it. So I have to say though, personally, because of the hard work that's done prior to the filming of the podcast, done by you and I, we all sit down with Michelle, we look at the content, we go through what the topics that we like. Been doing it for 11 years now, is the baking. I find the videos harder. This is I find the podcasting easier. Yeah, it's shorter periods. It's not I'm sitting down. Right, I get to eat stuff. Like it's easier. It's
not so much the time here where we're sitting and talking. It's all the research prior. I find it to be coming up with, what would be interesting to talk about? What are some interesting topics? What's going on? Looking, all of that. Just finding the material. I find to be a challenge and a wonderful challenge. Whereas with baking, I feel like there's a million things in the back of my head. Like, oh, I got to bake that. I want to bake that. I want to bake that. So like when it's time to bake, the hardest thing is just choosing what to bake.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So Gemma, what sleeper recipe on Bigger Bolder Baking hasn't gotten a ton of attention, but is a must bake?
You're going to like this answer. I had to put this question out to the team because especially the people who work on social to find out like what they thought, what really pops. Hawaiian mochi.
Oh, I love that. I would never have said that because I bake it religiously all the time. Like literally I made it twice last week for different things.
People who know it love it.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows about it. I didn't know about it until I started working with you. Go to biggerbolderbaking.com, Hawaiian butter mochi. It is hugely popular. It always blows up when we put it on social, but not something that everybody knows about. That's a fun one.
Yes,
and
so good.
So good. And then we can both answer this last question, Ami. What's the BBB recipe that you go back to again and again?
Your pancakes, 100% of the time.
Oh, that's nice.
I love them. We make them like once a week. They're so good.
Wow, that is again and again.
That is again and again. Yeah, that's the only pancake recipe I use. It's the best ever pancakes, and they really, really are the best ever.
Do you know what? What I love going to my own cookbooks, and that recipe is actually in my cookbook, and baking from my cookbook. That's how I know that it's of use to somebody, that it's practical, that they're using it like on a weekly basis or whatever. I love my frozen custard on my website. I make that often. When I make ice cream here, I usually make the frozen custard. It's like Shake Shack version. It's very rich. It's creamy. It's kind of yellowy in color. It's so delicious. It's salty. Loads of vanilla.
Yum.
So delicious. That's a real treat. I'll churn it freshly and then I'll eat it like maybe 4 hours later. That's my favorite.
Yum. Sounds good. I'm gonna have to make some frozen custard.
It's very good. Have you got an ice cream machine?
I do. It's one of those KitchenAid bowls.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay frozen super long. I saw on a video somebody had one of these like ninja.
Yeah, the
creamy.
Yeah, the creamy.
I really wanted one, but I also don't like appliances.
The mom in school was telling me about that one. I think because you can do like fruit and stuff.
I know. I don't like things ever. But I want one all the same.
Okay. Think about on your Christmas list.
Yeah, right.
That was fun. 100 episodes, Ami.
Amazing.
I'll see you in another 100.
Sounds great. I can't wait.
And that's a wrap on our 100th episode. And a big thank you to you guys who've been following for a long time. Or if you're new to Need to Know, please like and subscribe wherever you listen and watch your podcasts. And we will see you back here again really soon. Thank you. From HRN and the Bold Baking Network, you are watching the Need to Know Baking Entertainment Podcast.